Aloha everybody, Kaiwaza with you. John Charles, welcome back to my channel. Having a little, well, I would say I'm having a cocktail, but I'm not. It's actually still coffee I'm working on. It's time for a Hawaiian South Pacific record update. This is the series where I show my Hawaiian record collection, which you see a small part of behind you. Record by record. I kind of finished it a long time ago, and now I'm just doing updates as I get new things to the collection. So this is episode, believe it or not, number 307 of me showing my Hawaiian records. And we have quite a few records to show today, and I don't have very much to say about some of them because I don't have any information about them. But before we get to the records, I do want to show you this DVD that I picked up recently. Very exciting for me personally because it's a movie I've wanted to have for ages and never been able to get. It's Bora Bora from the early 70s as an American international release. If you're like sort of a tiki person, you probably know about this movie. Originally released in Italy with a dark, amazing soundtrack. When they released it in America by American International Pictures, they redid the soundtrack. I don't know why, but they redid the soundtrack with Les Baxter, and it's very different from the Italian soundtrack, but they're both really cool and really great. And then, of course, the movie itself is, I don't know, it's not a good movie. It's a romance story, but it's a very early 70s. It's almost soft porn. It's kind of like a combination of almost soft porn and travelogue. So it's great to watch. I mean, like the shots of Tahiti and the shops. They go to the Paul Gauguin Museum, which has been closed down for 1,000 years, and I love seeing all of that stuff in this movie. It's so great, and the soundtrack is wonderful. This does feature the American Les Baxter soundtrack, although there are a little original opening in the film that uses the Italian soundtrack. It is the American Les Baxter soundtrack. I got this off of eBay. I mean, you never see this movie. You can't see it online. You can't buy the darn DVD. It's like impossible. I've had a search on it for a long time, and it's crazy expensive. Somehow this became available at a very, very reasonable, like $20 or whatever, and I got it. And I don't know how that happened, but I'm very happy to have it. So yeah, I do have the DVD Bora Bora. Not going to win any awards with that film, but it's great soundtrack and it's great to watch. Very lame story. Okay. So we have quite a few records to get through today, although like most of them I don't have too much to say about, but I just show them to you a little bit and say a little something about them, and we listen to some samples from it. The first one is a Japanese series I just recently learned about, like within the past 2 years. Immortal Hawaiian Music Series. They did, I think, 8 or 9 in this series. There may be others that we don't know because people are sort of adding this to Discogs as they're discovering it. So maybe there's actually even more than 8 or 9. But this one is Andy Iona and his Islanders. As you can see, Japanese here. It's from 1974, although the music is much older because Andy Iona was a Hawaiian composer, performer, steel guitarist, I think clarinetist too, from the early part of the 20th century. So these recordings would have all been, like from the 30s, 40s. I think the steel guitar playing is beautiful. I mean, Andy Iona, just absolutely beautiful steel guitar playing. I do have some stuff from him, not a lot. There's not a lot on 12-inch vinyl of Andy Iona because he really recorded primarily before that time period. 78s would have been his thing, really. Anyway, this has beautiful steel guitar playing, and in particular the song couple songs. I'm Getting Sentimental Over You, not a Hawaiian song, but a steel guitar instrumental performed by Andy Iona, and it's so iconic, so beautiful. The steel work is amazing on it, that it was sort of covered, if you will, by a number of other steel guitarists later on. It's not uncommon to find somebody doing a steel guitar version of I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. And that's because of Andy Iona's rendition, which nobody has topped, by the way, but there are some great renditions of it. But Falling in Love with You is also amazing. Carefree. These are, again, songs that have been covered by other people too. But some of the songs are instrumental. Some of them are a vocal group singing. Maui Moon is really beautiful on this album. Anyway, I think any of these Immortal Hawaiian series, I have another one that I got a while ago, and a Ray Kenny one, quite good. So I'm kind of holding out and seeing some of them. If you don't have a lot of music or whatever by these artists, check it out. Be on the lookout for the Immortal Hawaiian music series, because there's some great stuff, some pretty obscure stuff. Some of the artists they have on there, I have most of the stuff, so I wouldn't get their Immortal Hawaiian series. But some of them, like this one, and there's a Dick McIntyre one I don't have. There's some lesser known stuff on there. Next up is a steel guitarist who I don't think a lot of people really think of as a steel guitarist, and that's Pua Almeida. I really know him primarily as a singer. I think that's probably where most people that are involved in Hawaiian music or familiar with it would think of him. A very distinctive voice, but he was also a great steel guitar player. Not a lot of recordings of him solo playing steel guitar or as an instrumental group. He did back up with a number of different artists through the years, but there's not a lot of his like solo steel guitar playing. I had this record from Maple Records and their steel guitar series, and it turns out this actually is part of a session or part of a recording done in Japan, and I just recently came across the Japanese release, which has everything. That has like about half of it. So this has like the other half of that session. So lots more music on this one. It's from 1969 from Japan. Hawaiian Favorites Twin Deluxe, Pua Almeida. All instrumentals. And Japan, some of their records are so great. It's like a gatefold with illustrations and all this way more information about the music than I think most people would probably read, but fascinating to have it. His steel guitar playing is quality, very quality. I love his singing too. Pua Almeida. Now I got a couple of, well, that was from Japan, but now I got a couple of records that are by Japanese artists coming my way recently. I don't pick up Japanese Hawaiian records an awful lot because they're very expensive usually. If they're coming from Japan, especially because you have to pay the shipping, which is really high, and they're generally pretty expensive anyway. But there is a lot of Hawaiian music that was recorded in Japan, both by Hawaiian artists who recorded there and by Japanese steel guitarists and singers and whatnot. This is one, I think this was in the States. That's why I got it, so the shipping wasn't as much. This is On a Tropic Night. It's a Japanese Columbia record. Hiroo, Nakagawa, and Beach Boys. Now, what makes this record kind of interesting is instrumental, steel guitar, tropical combo thing. On a Tropic Night, it's a very famous, very associated with Hawaii song from in Japan, although in Hawaii, in the States, it's not really, isn't it? What's his name? Lake Kuono. It's not associated really with Hawaii. It's a Latin song, but in Japan, it's on so many Hawaiian albums. What makes this record interesting? It is instrumental, typical sort of Hawaiian type of combo, but the songs are all arranged in a Latin manner. So there's like Latin tempo, bossa nova, every song is a Latin influenced arrangement, and it's a very nice, it works very well, and I enjoyed it, this record. I don't know who they are, Hiroo Nakagawa, no clue, but good job. It's from the year, there's not a year, or 1965. 1965. Then we have this one. I just got this in the mail and digitized it and put it on the radio station right away because it's just so mondo cool. It's called Statue. So weird. I swear to God, this is what it's called. Statue of Liberty, Hawaiian Scat Sings Hit Songs. Or Hawaiian Sound in Scat. Scat has several meanings, but in this case, when we're talking about music, it's really most associated with jazz, right? Jazz singing, scat singing. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's when people use nonsense lyrics, right? They just go, and it's like, it's kind of an art form, right? I didn't know this, but reading about scat, there are some, jazz people, some music people that really hate it, that really look down on it, that don't like it, think it's terrible, think it's awful. I had no idea. And then there are people that love it. I love it. I mean, I've always loved it in jazz singing. And I thought, well, interesting to hear, because we don't usually associate scat singing like with easy listening, or certainly with Hawaiian kind of music. And yet that is sort of what this is. I guess I've always called it, I think in the easy listening realms, we usually say I usually say anyway, a wordless chorus. A group of singers that aren't singing words. They're just either just going ooh, or they're technically what would be scat singing. They're going like a do wah, a shooby dooby, and there's other music and they're kind of doing scat singing. Well, that's what this is. Hawaiian steel guitar. There's a very groovy organ on this. There's some saxophone on it. And the chorus, wordless chorus, Scat singing in and out of the songs with their little shooby-doos and doo-wahs and whatever. It's performed by the Crystal Singers, and on steel guitar, Shigeru Shirakata. No date on it. Looks very probably 70s to me, late 60s. I don't know, maybe late 60s, early 70s. These are not Hawaiian songs. These are all pop songs of the time in Japan, which Statue of Liberty is one. In case you were wondering, like, why would you call it Statue of Liberty? Sad Train to Northern Country, Love Madness, International Waiting Room. I'm totally serious. It's the names of these songs. Burning Hand, The White Butterfly Samba, which is not a samba, interestingly. Yeah, super groovy, super love it. It's just weird. It's the kind of record that I would have dreams about, you know, in my dreams. Like, would this record really exist? You'd be looking at it in a dream and go, Hawaiian sound in Scat? Statue of Liberty? No, I must be dreaming this. Like, this can't be a real record, can it? I mean, who would do that? But it's real.
Yorana, Aroha. You can hear the exotic sounds of vintage Hawaii and the islands of paradise and the South Pacific on the radio station online that plays vintage island vinyl, Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio on Live365.com. There you will hear vinyl recordings by native island artists, by famous vocalists and instrumentalists, great steel guitarists, exotic tiki bands, Hollywood interpretations of our music. So many beautiful and lovely nostalgic recordings playing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's free for you to listen to. So come visit my island. Visit Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio on Live365.com. The link is in the description box below. Aloha.
It's real. Okay, here's an artist. We're not going to talk a lot about him. Interestingly, there's just the picture. There's no letters, graphics, anything on here. But it is a Swedish artist. I've talked about him a couple times before. Yngve Stoor. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think. Swedish steel guitarist and singer who had radio programs in Sweden for many years promoting Hawaiian music. So, and this was one I picked up again. It was inexpensive because sometimes when you find an Yngve Stoor record, it's coming from Europe and it's very expensive. I think this one was in the States somewhere, so the shipping wasn't that much, so I got it. But this is going to be the last Yngve Stoor record I think I get. I've had it, man. God love this guy and everything he did, but it just makes me mad because he's a great steel guitar player and I love his steel guitar instrumentals and he writes a lot of his own music. I love it. And then he just starts singing and it's bad. I don't like his singing. He's not a good singer. Like, why, man? Why did you do this? Why didn't you just, hire some other singer, somebody with a really professional voice if they had to? But my great complaint, or my great thing about him is, why did you not just record some albums of just instrumental songs, mostly your own compositions? Because they're great songs, musically, like they're nice. And the instrumentals that I have, he usually put 1 or 2 instrumental on every album. I love the instrumentals, and it just pains me that every time you're listening to one of the songs and it's going, okay, oh, this is going to be nice. Oh, this is good. And then you start singing and like,
Plockar från blomstersnåret blommor för håret och att fästa vid sin barm.
So, I mean, God love you, Yngve Stoor, but I wish you hadn't sung. I wish you hadn't sung. Here's one. Again, I don't have any information at all. Nothing. Zero. No information about this artist. Can't find anything. But Bert Renaldi. Really odd. I mean, Bert is short for Albert. Why not just go by Bert Renaldi? Or why? I don't get it. But anyway, I have this one. This is a London French recording, Hawaiian ambience. He's a steel guitar player. This one was nice. I liked it, but I never saw anything else from him. And then this one kept cropping up in my Discogs. I think I put it on a want list. That would probably be why it showed up. But it kept showing up, and it was expensive, and I never got it. So, but this time, it was from Canada, so the shipping was expensive, but the record was pretty inexpensive, so I got it. I like this one better than the other one. I mean, the other one's okay, nothing wrong with it. It's just this one has actual more Hawaiian songs on it than the other one is more popular tunes. Nice steel guitar playing. Like, I like the steel guitar playing. I wish that he had done more. These are the only two records I see listed anywhere that he did. And I don't know whether he's Canadian, French Canadian, from France. I have no idea, but this record was made in Canada. And my question to you, if you know, because I don't know, what is this? What is the cover? What is this supposed to be? This looks like a directional, like arrows. It looks like it's a Hawaiian record called Little Grass Shack. What? I really want to know. What do you see? I don't. To me, it looks like some kind of a street sign or a traffic light that's all blurred, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah, I get it. Okay, here's another foreign artist. It's a plethora of international artists this time. This is on a Brazilian album, although the artist is originally Italian. This is a steel guitarist. The album is called Guitarra Marvelous Guitar, is what it's called. The artist is Esperanto. I'm not exactly sure why, but like he's just so passionately smiling, while he's playing. It's kind of hard. I do play a little steel guitar, and it's a little hard to it's almost impossible to sing and play steel guitar at the same time. You have to look at what you're doing. And it's kind of hard to, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's equally funny when people are playing piano and they're like, really, because it's kind of hard to do that and play steel guitar at the same time. There's a more sane picture of him, I guess. So this guy, I don't know much about him at all. There's a few records by him, but Esperanto is not his real name. His actual name is Ambrosio Geiger. But when he started his recording career, the powers that be said, it's not a very good name. And he decided, whoever decided on Esperanto. You know, the language Esperanto, that's actually their inspiration. That was the idea, that because music, the steel guitar playing can sort of transcend any particular culture or any particular language, that would be a good name for him, Esperanto. These are all Brazilian songs. He moved to Brazil, by the way. That's what happened. He's Italian and he moved to Brazil. These are all Brazilian songs except Santa Lucia. Santa Lucia. Really lovely. I really enjoyed this album. I have some other South American albums of steel guitar players, and I do seem to really enjoy them. I like some of the Latin songs, but I love, particularly like this one is so pretty because it also incorporates the Paraguayan harp, or the South American harp, which is beautiful if you've never heard South American harp playing. Absolutely beautiful with the steel guitar. It's so nice, and there are several songs on here that are just sweet as sweet can be and really beautiful. So I don't think are any other steel guitar albums by him to pick up, because he also plays like regular guitar. But anyway, this was nice. I'm glad I got it. Finally, an artist I do have a little bit of information about to share. This is an Australian artist, Kenny Kitching, steel guitarist, plays the Hawaiian steel guitar. The album is called In the Hawaiian Mood, and it is from 1984, I think it is from. So this guy, as I said, Australian. He's from Auburn, New South Wales. I'm going to be looking at my notes here because I just learned this today. I didn't know anything about this guy either. I'd never seen anything by him. Little did I know, he was a member or inducted into the Australian Country Music Hall of Fame in 1970. There are others. As a child, there were other steel guitarists in his family. I think it's his brother and his uncle both played Hawaiian steel guitar. He was really introduced when he was playing and learning how to play it himself. As a younger person, he was introduced to a Polynesian lady that lived in their area that taught Polynesian dances and hula dances, and he would go to this studio and just kind of soak in all the music that they were dancing to and performing to, and was very attracted to it. In the 1950s, he joined a Maori club, which is New Zealand Native Peoples club that also promoted various Polynesian music and listened to it. He played himself, was playing professionally in country music in Australia and also Hawaiian music, so he did both. He actually, during his travels, played for the steel guitar for the Queen of Tonga. That was kind of cool. And in the 1960s, he was the resident steel guitarist on a Australian television series, Country Style. During that time period, he met Speedy West, famous steel guitar player, who turned him on to also playing pedal steel guitar. So here we see the not pedal steel, dobro, is that it? And the pedal steel guitar. And I believe he plays both on this album. And he also represented Australia in 1976 at the International Steel Guitar Players Convention in Indianapolis? St. Louis, Missouri, right. So, and he continued during many decades, 50s, 60s, 70s, to record and perform. However, he did not record solo Hawaiian albums, except for this one in 1984, which people had been requesting for a while because he'd done country music once and had done backup with country groups and some Hawaiian stuff too, but always loved the Hawaiian music, but he never did a album of it. So this was his one and only Hawaiian steel guitar record. that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe. Check out Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio. That's going to be linked below. You can hear selections from every single one of these records that we looked at today, plus about 2,000 more record albums that are playing 24/7 on the radio station. I also have if you're interested in supporting with some sort of small donation, I have a buy me a coffee account. That's going to be linked below, and that sort of helps me to, especially now that I have like so much of the local and American stuff of Hawaiian music. Most of what I'm getting these days is going to be international, and that usually Hawaiian music recorded by artists overseas in Japan and Australia and Europe and different places, and that's usually more expensive because of the shipping involved also. So any little small donation is greatly appreciated to help us continue with that, to help me continue to present new Hawaiian music to us and to the world through Hawaiian Hi-Fi Radio. So thanks for watching, and we will talk to you guys in the next video.